Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back with another movie review. This time it is on Black Widow, which of course stars Scarlett Johansson in, to my knowledge, her last time being this character. Who knows, she may get like her own TV show or return in another movie that is like in a flashback or something, because she of course died in Endgame. But yeah, I'm not too sure what Marvel's plan is with her character, but to my knowledge, once again, this was her last time being this character, and I thought this movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I watched it on Disney Plus a few days ago for the first time, and yeah, I enjoyed the ride. I thought it was a pretty good Marvel movie, and the thing that I appreciate most about this film, I think, is how the story is very much tailored to Black Widow herself. It doesn't really have many ties with the Avengers or anything like that. It is definitely her movie, and yeah, that's how this film was marketed, but it really is her own story, and I was glad that they didn't have to really give the audience something to be excited about by adding in anything with the Avengers or anything like that. I mean, the end credit does set up a sequel, but like I said, I like how this really just stuck with the Black Widow character and nothing else, and I also like how it built on her backstory from things that we have only really ever heard about in other films and other Marvel movies, like stuff with the Red Room. I like how it built on that because that is kind of a big part of Black Widow's backstory. Also the villain, which I will talk about more in a minute, he was kind of almost like a mystical figure in other movies, so in that, again, we only ever heard about and never really saw. Like, for example, in one of the Captain America movies or something, Black Widow would say, like, oh yeah, I was trained as an assassin in the Red Room, and then this guy was a real asshole to me. Like, that was all that was dedicated to her character then, but here they really kind of explained things more, and again, I was really glad that they kind of dedicated this story to being just about her. I know I keep on repeating that, but that is probably my favorite part about the film. About that villain, though, I think he could have been a bit better. He is, like, he's forgettable. I guess it was a good thing that I hated him throughout the movie. I was like, that guy is a real fucking asshole. So yeah, I guess that's kind of a good thing, because I can imagine the director and, you know, the filmmakers behind this movie really wanted the audience to hate this guy as much as Black Widow did, and really be happy when he gets taken down. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we haven't had a great villain, a great Marvel villain, since, I mean, you could throw Thanos in there. You could also throw Killmonger in there from Black Panther. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a standard Marvel villain that I didn't really care about that much, like his whole story and whatnot. And then, so he wasn't really seen in any other trailers. But the person behind the mask that had the shield, that character is almost like the accomplice of the main bad guy. That's all I'll say, because I don't really want to spoil it. There's much more to it than that. But of course, I mean, you have to have kind of a mindless killing machine that challenges Black Widow physically, and then the main bad guy challenges her mentally. And yeah, I mean, the person in the mask, who again, I won't state who it is, who it's revealed as, but in a way, I was glad that it wasn't some big character that we already knew about. Again, that goes back to this being its own thing, this movie being its own story and whatnot, and its own plot, because that character who it is revealed as belongs in this movie only. I mean, when they first were taking off the mask, I was like, is fucking Hawkeye gonna be in there? Luckily, that's not what happened. Little spoiler there. That's someone who is not in the mask. Yeah, it is someone else that does kind of add a bit more to the bad guy, and, you know, something that he did in the past, and something that Black Widow did in the past. But it was all, like, it's stuff that you've seen before. It wasn't really anything special. And that is one of my main complaints about this movie, is the villain is just kind of one-faced and not too interesting. And there's not a ton to him, besides the fact that he was the one to kind of make Black Widow who she was. I mean, yeah, I guess that's interesting, but I don't know. I wasn't really buying the villain. He could have been better, but I suppose he could have been worse as well, so, I mean, he's kind of in the middle of the road. But moving on to the action in this movie, the thing that really keeps audiences in their seats, besides Scarlett Johansson, who is really good in the movie. She is great as this character, as always. Florence Pugh as well, and Rachel Weisz and David Harbour are also in this movie. They play her family members. They are great as well. And I mean, that's kind of what you get when 3 out of those 4 actors are Oscar nominated. But yeah, they were all good in the movie. They did their job well. But anyway, back to the action. I was kind of anticipating this about this film, and I was kind of wondering how they were going to go about the action as far as how it was filmed. If they were going to do nice wide shots, which is obviously what I and probably everyone else was hoping for, or if they would do close-up, quick cut, so you could barely see what was going on. And sadly, they did the second option, because most of the scenes, I mean, there are a couple good action sequences that are entertaining, and again, kind of keeps the audience in their seats if they were just there to watch the action in this film and not really care about anything else. It is good enough, but it definitely could have been better, and I was hoping that it would be better. The first main action sequence, at least that I remember, that sounds bad, but oh my god, I can't remember. Okay, that is actually something that I'm going to mention later about this film, is how memorable it is, but I will get to that later. But yeah, one of the first action sequences takes place on a bridge between that person with the shield, who again I won't reveal, and Black Widow. And they are doing some hand-to-hand combat, and it's all close-ups, and it's also kind of dark out, like it's a nighttime setting, and you really can't see a ton that's going on. Again, it's fine, like it's good enough, but it definitely could have been better, and I think Infinity War and Endgame did a good job at showing nice wide shots to really see what was happening when action sequences would happen. But with this movie, they kind of reverted back to their old ways, and yeah, I mean, just kind of the motto is that it could have been better. But anyway, moving on to kind of my final complaint about this movie, is that when I watched it, it was a couple nights ago by now, and after I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that was a pretty good movie, but my fear was that I would forget most of the things that happened, like within a couple days, because it is, one thing that I do like about this film is that it's very, the stakes are low, because there really are no stakes. You don't have to worry about like, oh, is this person gonna die or anything like that. And it was kind of a nice, enjoyable Marvel movie for once, versus like Infinity War and Endgame, which are two movies that you were really worrying about, oh my god, which characters are going to die and stuff like that. But yeah, this one was very loose and enjoyable, and not a lot of stress really went into watching this movie, so that was good. But anyway, one thing that I was worried about after seeing this movie was how memorable it would be, because when thinking back to it, not just now, but literally right after I saw the movie, I was like, I'm probably going to only remember like a couple scenes in this film. And yeah, that is one of my bigger complaints about this film, is that I wish it just kind of stuck with me more than it did. And I wish, you know, I mean, I only saw that a couple days ago, and I can't remember every single detail. I wish it was just a bit more distinct, you know? Because it kind of, with the villain and everything, it kind of blends into every other Marvel movie. So that's about it for my complaints. There are some good scenes throughout this movie, and I overall enjoyed it. I liked the family dynamic between Black Widow and the rest of her family, of course. Especially David Harbour. He was funny in the movie, he did his job. I like how Rachel Weisz is in the movie, and Florence Pugh as well. A lot of great actors and actresses here. So yeah, I did enjoy kind of learning more about Black Widow's backstory through them, and kind of the emotional side of it. They did the best they could within one movie, because again, we've never seen any of these characters before. We've only ever heard about them in like a few lines. So in a way, I'm glad that they expanded upon them. But in another way, it's kind of a bad situation because they only have so much time to build on these characters. But again, they did the best that they could, and I overall think it was fine. And yeah, I do think I overall like this movie. There are some problems with it. I feel like I was overly negative in this film, or in this video, about this movie. But I kind of want to reiterate that I did enjoy a lot of the things in this film. But with movies like this, I think it's better to kind of name the bad things about it, and then you could just, the audience can kind of assume that everything else was acceptable and that everything else was good about this film. So yeah, that's kind of how I went about it. I do think I overall enjoyed this movie once again, and for that reason, I'm going to give Black Widow a 7.5 out of 10. Guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave comments down below of, I don't know, what you think about Black Widow as a character, what you thought about this film, if you think Scarlett Johansson will return as this character in the future. And yeah, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.